Hi everybody, my name is Elena Loginova and I'm an investigative reporter from Ukraine. I used to work with many anti-corruption and investigation TV shows, and I also cooperate with organized crime and corruption reporting project. Last project I took part is a documentary about killing of a journalist, Pavel Sheremet. For almost 10 months I was part of a team of 4 journalists which were investigating this crime. Actually, we did the same job as official detectives, with the only one difference. We had less power. But with the help of new technologies, with help of Bellingcat, we managed to go further than police. And I think our experience can help to investigate other crimes. So I'm happy to share it with you. So almost 1 year ago, on July 20, 2016, a well-known Belarusian journalist, Pavel Sheremet, was murdered in downtown Kiev. The car of his civil wife and partner, Elena was exploded. Pavel was a really well-known journalist, and he has his own morning radio show, and he was a key journalist of news site Ukrainska Pravda. He was known as sharp critic of authorities in Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. So it was, even we have war in the east of our country, and almost every day people died. This crime shocked everybody. The same day, Ukrainian authorities vowed to find Pavel's killers. But we journalists, we also decided to launch our own investigation. Our first task was to reconstruct the events surrounding Pavel's murder. So we started to collect video from CCTV cameras, interview witnesses, and put everything on a map. So the scene of the crime was divided into squares, and each journalist had his own area of responsibilities. Usually we worked in pairs. It was Anna Babinets who worked with me, and also guys, usually it was Vlad Lavrov and Dmitro Hnap. So we were collecting this footage in pairs. Sometimes it was really easy to get this footage. We just had our hard drives, we went to people, and in some couple of hours we had it with us. But sometimes it was difficult or even impossible to get it. For example, some state-owned institutions just refused to help us. For example, there was a camera which looked all night where the bombers, where alleged assassins planted the bomb. These 2 cameras were looking at Pavel's car, and they even didn't want to show us. They didn't give us to watch it, this video. They said it was like bank secrecy. But nevertheless, we managed to collect video within a radius of more than 1 kilometer. And we received hundreds of hours of videos from dozens of cameras. The difficulty was that some footage had different timestamps. So we need to cross-check with the footage and the events the time was known. For example, sunrise or other events like big cars are moving through streets. This footage, together with the footage released by police, helped us to make a map which shows us how 2 alleged assassins managed to plant a bomb. And I'd like to show you a small piece from the documentary.
At approximately 2:15 in the morning, 2 figures emerged on a boulevard not far from the apartment Pavel shared with his partner and civil wife. The pair, who appear to be wearing gray jumpsuits, are next seen in the labyrinth of alleyways behind the apartment. The 2 slowly progress between apartment blocks. They briefly exit a passage onto a major street before making a right turn toward the apartment. As the pair advances, it becomes clear that one is a woman and the other a man. The man, apparently feigning intoxication, crosses the street to possibly serve as a lookout. As the woman approaches a red Subaru, the car Pavel drives to work each morning. She bends down alongside the car for approximately 10 seconds, presumably placing a remote-controlled bomb under the driver's seat. The two are next seen making a right at the next intersection. They act as if they don't know each other, until joining each other again about half a block later. The police later published a map showing the alleged assassin's path. According to the map and the footage they released, the pair was last seen here. But this detail would later be proven wrong.
We made our research
at approximately 2:15.
Our research lasted approximately 3 months, and then we decided to make this documentary, and we invited American director Matthew Cernetsky, who is now based in Romania, to join our team. And from that moment, all video we collected, we sent to Bucharest, where Matt reviewed and everything again in editing program. And he found one of the most crucial moments. It's on camera almost 1 kilometer away, because all other cameras, they catch these alleged assassins in infrared, so it was not in color. And this camera near statue catch them in color, and we can see distinguishing things like a man and a woman are wearing black hoodies, and on man's back there is a distinctive logo. We can see the same man or in the same hoodie next morning when the car was exploded. Also, we noticed 2 cars that night. It was a Mercedes and a gray Skoda. You can see this car with lights. So these 2 cars parked 120 meters up from the Pavel's apartment, and during all night they behave very suspiciously. On similar occasions, individuals from these cars, they were going downhill towards Pavel's apartment, but outside of the view of the camera. Of course, we were very interested to talk with these passengers, but for that we need to find Skoda owners. But as you can see, so bad quality of video made it impossible to read plate number, plate license. So we asked Bellingcat for help, and now I want to show you my favorite piece from the documentary with Timmy.
Timmy, the graphic artist from the Bellingcat Collective, had looked at the footage of the Skoda's license plate. He invited journalists to his home in Germany to examine the results.
For me, the problem was calculate out the noise.
Before processing the raw video, only a few digits were legible.
Okay, we can see AA and M and O. What you nice see is the noise of the camera sensor, and from many frames we can calculate this out.
Timmy explained that the video was full of noise from the camera sensor. Among other functions, he needed to turn each frame from the video into individual photos.
I create single frames from video with only the part with the car. And now I look for frames without peoples and movies.
Timmy explained he took 500 individual frames and stacked them on top of each other. Within each of those frames, he calculated minimum and maximum values of brightness and contrast, experimenting each step to obtain the best quality result. An enormous feat of trial and error.
How many hours did you spend on this?
Hours? for 500 frames, I think days.
How many days?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay, for the result, we take the pictures, the frames from video, and we cut it and we put it in stack, and the result for this process was this picture. We can clearly read AA 2
5, 5, 1, and 0. So thanks to Timmy, when we get back in Kiev, we found a source in automobile source with access to automobile database, and the number of car tracked us to a woman called Natalia. You can see her on this picture taken with a hidden camera. I'm sorry. So firstly, when we came to her, she denied she owns the car, but on our next meeting, she said she was asked to place her name to serve as a kind of proxy for another man. And we were lucky because she told us his name. His name was Igor. You can see on this picture, he's in the left, with our two reporters, Anna and Dmitro. Igor, who said he was lived in Odessa, agreed to meet with us if we would show him footage from CCTV. We planned this meeting, and Anna and Dmitro were interviewing him, and the cameraman was stayed in the car, fixing the exchange, and me and Vlad, we were fixing everything suspicious around, cars, people. So Igor was not able to provide alibis what he was doing that night. His behavior was really strange. When guys first showed him video, he just asked, "Was it me?" And then he said that he was doing surveillance on some children. And then when they asked why he was going downhill towards Pavel's apartment, he said he was going to the restroom. So we grew very suspicious that this guy could work for Ukrainian security agency, the same agency, Ukrainian Security Service, the same agency which is supposed to investigate Pavel's murder. And we find a source with access to government information, and this source did not allow us to copy or photograph the documents, but did allow us to take verbatim notes. So in this dossier, we had many information, personal, about Igor and his relatives. But the most important was the phrase that as for 2014, Igor is an employee of Ukrainian Security Service. Igor present at the scene of the crime doesn't mean he was doing surveillance or he was involved in the murder of Pavel Sheremet. But what it means that former or present security service agent was at the scene of the crime, and he concealed his connection to the security agency, and his behavior was strange, and he was unwilling to explain something for journalists. But the most important, that he was not questioned by police, because he could be key witness. Actually, we found 6 more witnesses just after the woman places the bomb under the car, and nobody from them was questioned by officials. Just after we released our documentary, our president, Petro Poroshenko, he announced his annual press conference, and on this press conference, he promised that Igor will be interrogated by police, and next day he was interrogated. So I think now the funny thing is now police want to cooperate with us, with journalists, and with Bellingcat, with everybody, because I think maybe they also want to solve this crime. They were, let me say, they were inspired by maybe new technology, by Timmy, by the way that 4 journalists can go and collect more video and watch it better than police. So I hope that new technology and our experience will help to find Pavel's killers, because that was the aim of this documentary. Thank you, guys. I don't know if we have time for questions. Maybe, no? Yes, no?
Elena, it's not a question. I watched your presentation with a lot of emotions because Pavel was a friend of mine. So I just wanted to thank you for doing what you have been doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's talk in the evening. I'm here.